Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chief Officer Bernel V. Tuliao on board MT Overseas Petromar. I wanted to share to you the PowerPoint presentation of basic training in financial literacy. This presentation is the product of shared knowledge of my fellow seafarer, second mate Rodsen Goyenechea, and my study of financial literacy, investments, and business books authored by Francisco Colaiko, Robert Kiyosaki, Pax Lapid, and many more. Basic training in financial literacy is the simplified presentation teaching you the concept of cash flow. Following objectives of this training are to be able to learn how to build assets, minimize liabilities, convert liabilities to an asset, and eventually we will acquire financial independence, time freedom, and able to retire young and spend time with our family. Our next slide is cash flow quadrant. In this slide, you will be able to differentiate the four types of people in the world of money and the four different types of tax laws for each. On the left column, which I labeled the poor side, is the first quadrant E, which stands for employee. Second quadrant, that's this first quadrant E, and the second quadrant S, it stands for self-employed, specialist, small business, and solo. There is nothing wrong of becoming an employee, self-employed, or specialist, except that the tax laws are worse for these quadrants. Reality is that the tax laws are favorable to the businessman and investors. On the E and S quadrants, some people will reach up to middle class and upper middle class and back to poor if you are not very vigilant with your cash flow. On the right column, or the rich side, is the third quadrant B, which stands for big business with employees greater than 500. And the fourth quadrant, I, stands for investors. Actually, you can get rich either of the four quadrant, but if you want money working for you rather than you are working for money, then shift to B and I quadrant. This slide, Money Works, will show you who are working for money and to whom money works for. You are working for money if you are an employee. Yes, we know that if you don't go to work, you will not be paid. If you will not open your clinic, your firm, or your stores, same thing, you will not earn any money. In short, if you are in the E and S quadrant, you will be working for money. Money only works for you if you build your business and expand it. The profit of your mini businesses will be flowing into your account without having personally attending for that particular business. In a legitimate multi-level marketing or network marketing, if you build your network of distributors or dealers and expand it, you will have money working for you through the commissions you will be earning. Investing in treasury bonds, bills, mutual funds, and stocks, if properly managed, will make money working for you. Okay, next slide, we will have a quick look with our income statement. First to show you is the basic expenses we normally pay in our daily lives. So we have food, house or apartment if we are renting, allowances of our kids such as fare, clothing, That's the allowances. Education fees such as tuition fees, miscellaneous, and books of our kids. Health maintenance. We normally take vitamins, vaccinations, and medicines as necessary. We also have our electric bills, water bills, telephone and cell phone bills. In order for us to pay our normal expenses, we must have income. This income normally comes from our active income. The question is, what if you encountered problems with your employment? How are we going to pay our expenses? In order to solve this problem, we should be able to generate other sources of income. We call it passive income and portfolio income. These are income coming from your stocks, bonds, mutual fund, other investment, and profit from business. Next slide is our balance sheet, composed of assets and liabilities. Liabilities are anything that takes out money from your pocket. Example of these are our monthly expenses. Why? House can be classified as liabilities because we still do pay our insurance, maintenance for our house. Meaning, money is flowing out. The same thing with our car and our condominium, if we have it. What about assets? Assets are defined as anything that puts money into your pocket. Example of this is our salary. Most of us will say so. What if I buy a house, car or condo? Anyway, I can afford it with my sky-high salary. Remember that cash flow out continuously as long as you have liabilities, and cash flow in is interrupted if you have limited assets. I am not saying you do not buy house, car, or any wonderful things in life. What I am saying is that we first build our assets wherein cash is flowing in before buying liabilities. To convert liabilities to assets, that very same car, house, or condo, if rented, will become assets because it generates income. Our investments, our businesses, they are all our assets. So I repeat, build assets before liabilities. Okay, now our next slide is our cash flow. Look on our income and asset column. Cash is flowing into our pocket, moving slowly and even more slower if you don't generate any other sources of income. We have our stocks, cash is flowing in. We have bonds, mutual funds. We have our investments, and we have our businesses. On the expenses and liabilities column, see how cash is flowing out so quickly, and it will not stop flowing out as long as you're paying your loans, your mortgage, expenses, and many more. Always remember the concept of cash flow. Money flowing in will get you richer and richer, and cash flowing out will get you poorer and poorer. Okay, now we compare heads versus save. Savers are losers, as Mr. Robert Kiyosaki said. Why? Because the value of money as currency is going down every day and prices are going up. We also call this as inflation. So if you keep on saving, you will be losers at the end. These are the common examples of saving. Sometimes we call it economia. Reduce allowance, transfer to low-cost housing or school, save money in bank, reduce running time of your air condition, TV, refrigerator, and minimize recreation. That is the new rule. Saving is an old rule. To hedge for our telephone and cell phone loads expenses, we can hedge by selling also loads. To save or to hedge, to hedge for our electricity bills, we can sell ice and ice candy. As I've already said, to hedge for our cell phone load, we can sell cell phone load, be a one bro retailer. Instead of saving money in the bank, we can start a business, be a one bro dealer. To hedge for our expenses in health maintenance, such as our vitamins and medicines, we can be a food supplement distributor. For example, we have an apartment. The other room can be open for bed spacers in order for us to hedge for the apartment rent. In short, to hedge, we must invest, invest, and invest. Now we will compare the difference of business earnings and bank savings. On bank investments, for example, on savings account, you will earn 2% interest per annum minus tax. So if you deposit 1,000 pesos, you will only earn 16 pesos for 1 year because 20% tax was deducted from your earning. On the other hand, the business side, for example, you are a one bro retailer, selling loads. If you are able to sell 1,000 worth of cell phone loads a day at 10% commission, you will earn 3,000 pesos a month, which is equivalent to 300% of your 1,000 peso capital. Even if you only sell 500 pesos worth of cell phone load, you still earn 1,005 pesos or 150% earning in a month. Let us go back to bank investments. Time deposit will give you a good earning of 6% per annum minus tax. So if you invest 10,000 pesos for 1 year, you will only earn 480 pesos tax deducted. On the business side, if you are a one bro dealer and able to sell 2 dealer franchise a month and registered 20 retailers, you will have an estimate earning of 5,500 pesos or equivalent to 138% a month. For mutual funds and bonds, you will earn a decent 8 to 10% interest per annum. A piece of advice here. If you decided to invest in bonds, make sure to choose a term of 5 years or more because you will be exempted from tax. In business, you can grow your money exponentially. I am not saying bank is not good. Bank is very helpful for all businessmen because from banks we can borrow capital for our businesses. What we can do is to increase our business skills and financial intelligence. Okay, next slide is good debt versus bad debt. Bad debt, if your house, lot, car, or condominium is under mortgage. Why? Because cash is flowing out. Same with our credit cards. If you don't pay our credit cards on time. And also if you borrow money and not use for business or investments. On the other hand, that very same house, condo and car, if rented or used for business, we can say this is a good debt because cash is flowing in. Our credit cards, if used properly, will become a good debt. For example, if you buy groceries for your small store and able to pay your credit before due dates, that is a sound good debt. Don't be afraid to borrow money if this will be used for business. Remember, good debt makes you rich and bad debt makes you poor. Now let us have a quick recall on our needs and wants. What are needs? Needs are anything that we cannot live without. What are these examples? Food. We have shelter or house. And we have clothing. How about wants? Wants are those things that we can live without. What are these? These are example car, condo, cell phone, and signature clothing, and many more. We can always buy our wants, but we must prioritize our needs and build assets first. On the next slide, I will show you the money triangle. The three sides are fear, desire, and we call it ignorance. If you possess all the three emotions, you will fall under the financial illiteracy. Fear, fear of not having money. Desire, that is desire to buy wonderful things when you have money. And ignorance. Ignorance is intelligence combined with arrogance. Unable to generate passive income when you have money. Take for example some of the famous celebrities, athletes, and prominent people. They were illuminated by their earnings that they thought it is endless. Some of them went back of being poor because they were not financially educated. In order to overcome fear, we must generate active portfolio and passive incomes. To overcome desire, always think about the cash flow, but remember to reward yourself when you have increased your assets. To overcome ignorance, we must increase our financial IQ. By merely studying this basic financial literacy training, you have already taken the first step of increasing your financial intelligence. Our next slide. Like in any other sports, life has 4 quarters. The question is when you are going to win the game of money. Or in layman's term, when will you retire? But when we say retires, you still have cash flowing into your pocket. If you stop working and maintaining your chosen lifestyle. On the first quarter, which is the first half, from age 25 to 35 years old. This is the age, the beginning of our career. Can you retire on this stage or in this quarter? Few can, but mostly no. On the second quarter, from age 35 to 45 years old, and then you reach halftime, midlife crisis. You've reached this stage, but you still don't have constant flow and assets. On the second half, third quarter, is the age 45 to 55 years old. You reach this age but you still don't have constant cash flow and assets. You may have already built assets, by this time, but liabilities is also enormous that you cannot retire yet. Fourth quarter, 55 to 65 years old. Then it will be overtime. And finally, you are out of time. The last resort, you oblige your kids to support your lifestyle. This is the traditional culture. It is about time to build as much assets as we can in order for us to maintain our lifestyle. When we retire, and not an extra burden for our kids. As a result of my studies in financial literacy, I immediately applied it to my own life. Please see my actual financial standings as well as my projection if I have to continue applying the principles of financial literacy. Here is my financial standings before. Since I am earning sky high as a chief officer on board tanker vessels, I believe that I can pay the entire mortgage as listed below. The big problem is I cannot stay more than 4 months in vacation because I have to pay all the monthly amortizations and expenses. My liabilities are my expenses. I am renting an apartment in Baguio where my kids are studying. I have my car, my house and lot in Pangasinan, and condominium and parking in Makati. Can you see my long list of liabilities? Okay, so now we go on my asset. On my asset column is of course my salary. In addition is my lending business. If you will notice, I only have two assets wherein cash is flowing in and cash is flowing out is much more, which we call it liabilities. On the next slide, represent my present financial standing after applying the financial literacy. So now, my assets are my salary, because I am still sailing. I still do my lending business, which give me about 10,000 peso a month earning. I am a Wambro retailer, which give me about 2,000 pesos earning a month. I am a Wambro dealer, which give me about 5,000 pesos earning a month. And I am now a co-owner of Wambro Business Center, which give me about 10,000 pesos earning a month. I am also a food supplement distributor, which give me 5,000 pesos earning a month. And my ice cream factory, it is well known as Dirty Ice Cream, which give me 5,000 earning a month. If you will notice, I have increased my assets dramatically. Now let us have a look at my present liabilities. First in line is still my monthly expenses. I still rent an apartment in Baguio. My house and lot was transferred to Pag-ibig. As you can see, my car is already out of my liabilities because we are already using it for business purposes. My condo is already for sale, and if not sold, I will open it for rent in order for me to convert my liability to asset. Continue applying the principles of financial literacy. My future projection on my financial standing is this. My assets will still be my salary. My lending business will turn into lending corporation. I'm still a Wambro retailer. I'm still a Wambro dealer. Our Wambro Business Center will open the second branch in Pangasinan. I continue selling food supplement. My ice cream factory by this time will be ready to engage in franchising. And now my liabilities by this time, I still do pay my monthly expenses. I still do rent an apartment and continue paying my house and lot, but now in a Pag-ibig mortgage. By this time, I can already buy another car which will be used for business or not. Since I have already increased my assets, I can reward myself to buy anything I want. And finally, I can extend my recreation by traveling locally or abroad. To sum up everything what we have learned in this presentation, our priority are to buy our needs. Less priority is buying our wants. Prioritize increasing income by generating passive and portfolio income. Don't increase your expenses, instead maintain it while you're in building assets stage. We have to build assets first before buying liabilities. We must utilize good debt rather than bad debt. Good debt makes us rich and bad debt makes us poor. We must hedge rather than save. We must invest in business rather than invest in banks. We must increase our financial IQ and develop business skills rather than focusing only on employment and small businesses. Congratulations for studying the basic financial literacy. Thank you for your time. And as a commercial, and if you're interested to hedge your cell phone loads and start a business with an affordable capital, just contact me or join our group in Facebook, Wambro Team Marino. If you want to start your own Wambro Business Center, just contact me. We can help you in many ways, from sending your letter of intent, completion of legal documents, and even looking for business partners. Remember that Wambro Business Center in Baguio is owned by members of Wambro Team Marino Group. The slide shown is the total income projection of Wambro Business Center. Your capital for package A is 500,000 pesos and for package B is 288,000 pesos. Last slide is my contact details. Don't hesitate to call me or send message. Yours truly, Chief Officer Bernel Villamor Tullao. God bless us all. Thank you.